President Donald Trump issued a stark ultimatum to Mexico. Deliver the water the U.S. says it is owed under the 1944 Water Treaty, including 200,000 acre-feet by December 31st, or face escalating trade penalties. Hours later, the White House introduced a $12 billion farm aid package, funded largely through tariff revenue, meant to shield U.S. producers from the ripple effects of trade disruptions. Mexico has cited hydrological stress and drought, while analysts warn that using tariffs to enforce a water treaty is both novel and diplomatically risky. Joining us from now is Mr. Maher Nicholas Fresley, Executive Director of the European ASEAN Centre, joining us from Paris. Welcome, Mr. Maher. Now, let's begin with the timeline. What exactly did President Donald Trump announce regarding both the tariff treaty and the farm aids?
I'm delighted to join you today from Paris. The real timeline, I think, is 11 months precisely from today, when President Trump would be faced with the midterm elections, where a big chunk of the seats on Capitol Hill, both in the U.S. Senate and Congress, will come for renewal, right? And these midterm elections are going to be difficult anyway, because it's always difficult for a president. And usually, statistically, most American presidents in the past 100 years have lost, their party has lost a few seats during the midterm elections, and the Republican majority today is very small, right? So his party, in 11 months, they need to make a good score to keep their seats on Capitol Hill. And what Trump is doing now is really rejigging the American economy, and much more than that, he's reshaping the world economy. And so it takes 5, 10, 15 years, right?
Yes.
For him to do that, to re-industrialize America. And when I say re-industrialize, I include agro-industry and agricultural production and agricultural infrastructure. All that takes time. And the problem is, the midterm elections, they come in 11 months, right? So 11 months is a short time, 10, 15 years to rejig the world economy and reindustrialize America is a long time. And so Trump needs to do something quick, and he needs to have quick wins. He needs to show swing voters in 2 states, the agricultural states where they vote, farmers voted for him massively in these states, and the Rust Belt industrial only working for the rich, he's also working for the working class and the farmers. Then he will win, his party will win the elections in 11 months. So I think that's why Trump is really focusing on that. And it's true that over the years, Mexico has not respected, has not abided by the spirit and the letter of the 1944 Water Sharing Treaty.
Exactly. But the dispute involves this 1944 U.S.-Mexico Water Treaty that we're talking about. For viewers unfamiliar with its structure, how does the treaty allocate water, and what does the U.S. claim Mexico has failed to deliver? Which you were just trying to tell me now. I want more elaboration and explanation.
So to make a long and complicated story short, right? It's about, sharing the Rio Grande, right? The Rio Grande, and the name of that river, that giant river, which is also the border, the border between Mexico and America, is inspired from medieval Arabian Spanish geography. It was a term first used by Arab geographers in the Middle Ages. Al-Wadi al-Kibir, or Al-Wadi al-Kabir,
the Grand Valley,
is that big river in the south of Spain. And then the Spanish people, the Mexicans, use the same name, Al-Wadi al-Kabir, the Rio Grande, to describe that river. And in 1944, there was a bunch of American dam engineers and diplomats who met with their Mexican counterpart to agree on the split of water. Back then, 1944, Mexico was a very poor country. Okay, so when you're a very poor country, and America was really bigger than today, so America's relative size in the world economy was even bigger than today. So of course, when you negotiate, when you're Mexican, it's not a well-balanced negotiation. So the Mexicans made concessions, but they signed. And when you sign a treaty,
It's
you have
mandatory.
you cannot say, oh, but 80 years ago we were a
Yes.
country, and you cannot say what the Mexicans are saying today. We have a drought, because it's too easy to say, we have a drought today. We had a drought last year. 80 years ago, our country
In
was poor.
short, there are no exceptions when it comes to signing
No,
a treaty. Each party
no,
would be committed to it, regardless of any other circumstances that have
exactly.
occurred or might occur.
Exactly. It's cruel, but dura lex, sed lex. The law is hard, the law is difficult, but that's the law. Now, at the same time, Trump is exaggerating a little bit. So he's saying, in essence, that the level of cheating by the Mexican government is 40-50%. Now, that's an exaggeration. In reality, probably the Mexicans are cheating by 15-20%, which is a lot, right? 15, not 50. And I think, in acre feet, the American way, I think America's share is supposed to be 1.8, 1.9 million acre feet per year, I think. And I think the Mexicans are probably giving the Americans, like I said, 200 or 300,000 acre feet below what they're supposed to. It's a bit complicated because there are many dams, it's a gigantic river, Al-Kabir, grande means big. So it's
Yes.
a very big river, and there are maybe 15, 20 dams around the river. But anyway, what I'm coming at, Trump is right to pressure the Mexicans because they have abused the system. Now, why have they abused the system? Because Trump's predecessors, so the previous presidents, including, by the way, Biden, Clinton, George W. Bush, but also including Trump himself. So Trump himself, eight years ago, in the first Trump presidency, just like Biden and Bush and Clinton, he neglected that issue. And now he's right. He's focusing on that issue, and he wants to increase the
Yes.
output of U.S. farmers, and he
Yes.
wants to keep U.S. farmers happy. So water is critical, and Mexico needs to release more water.
Yes. Well, Mr. Maher Nicholas Ferdsley, thank you so much for your thorough analysis. Thank you so much.